hope. Let me know if you can see me on screen. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in to this latest live stream of PeterSweden Live. We have a lot of things to talk about tonight, all of the usual current events and stuff happening around the world and Europe and so on. As you know, I have just been setting up this new studio with the green screen and everything, and today I actually got myself a new camera, so I hope you guys can see me better than last time. And please let me know if the sound is okay, because I have been experimenting a little bit with my microphone settings. I have quite a good microphone, this blue Snowball it's called, I'm using. It should be quite good, but let me know if the sound sounds good or not, because I've been experimenting a bit with some of the settings. Just give me 1 second, by the way. I just want to, there we go. I was just adjusting the video capture a bit, because I have the green screen on, and as you can see on screen, if it's that's where my green screen ends, basically right there. So I was just gonna crop that bit out before we continue. Someone is saying in the chat here that the sound is a little bit low, the volume. Okay, let me see if I can fix that. The volume should be better now. Let me know if the volume sounds any better now in the chat, guys. All feedback is highly appreciated to help me iron out all the small problems, all the small settings that needs to be fixed. Let me know if the volume is too loud or if it's okay. I think I just adjusted it a little bit. Okay. You guys in the chat says that it sounds fine. Yeah. Okay, excellent. It looks like the volume is better now. Okay, too loud. Let me see if I can just bring it down a little bit then. There, maybe that's better. Okay, let me know. Let me know if that is good or not. I have adjusted the volume a little bit. Let me know if that is good. All right. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and really appreciate you guys all in the chat. We had a really great time last night. I think we have a good thing going here, and I hope you enjoy it as much tonight as you did last time, guys. Let's jump into our first story of the night. Let me just bring it up on screen. There we go. We talked a little bit about this last night, but there's some more details on this story that I forgot to talk about yesterday. So if you tuned in last night, we talked about this story where a Swedish journalist named Joakim Lamotte, he is an independent journalist in Sweden, similar like me basically, and he's doing a lot of good work reporting on stuff happening with violence, crime and migration in certain no-go areas and so on, in these problem areas. He's going where the other journalists don't want to go. But he's been threatened for it. He's received threats for it. He's been received death threats, and even his children have been threatened with attacks. And the thing here is that the media is actually ignoring it. So this guy actually used to work for Swedish state-owned media SVT earlier in his life, but he's now independent. Hang on, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. You don't have to see me all the time. All right. So he has been receiving these death threats, and basically the media has been ignoring it. Because it's not part of it's not politically correct, shall we say? They don't care about real free press in Sweden. They only care about the agenda. So he comments on this, saying that, quote, "I'm thinking that the journalist from..." He was speaking from with the Swedish radio actually earlier, but they were trying to hide it and so on. you know, it's he says, I'm so pissed off, I'm boiling right now. A few minutes ago I was called by the radio show media in the P1, that's the Swedish radio program, and it talks about journalism and so on. Therefore my first thought, of course, is that they want to talk to me about all the death threats and bomb threats that make me unable to live a normal life anymore. I guess they want to do a story on how free speech is under attack in Sweden when independent journalists like me daily are threatened with the goal of scaring us to silence. I'm thinking that the journalist from Sweden's radio will ask how my family and I are feeling after several weeks having received threats with the message that I, my wife and my children are to be, well, already, so I'm not going to even mention them on air because that might get the video demonetized. So I'm not going to do that. My instinct tells me, and also that she may regret it as a journalist and colleague, I need to live under a threat of death just because I do my job. But the person from the Swedish radio starts by saying she's going to do a report on a Swish journalist. Swish journalist in Sweden basically means Swish. That's a service like PayPal in Sweden where you can receive donations. So the left has invented a new term called Swish journalists. Where they basically are fan funded. So she was going to talk about him being a Swish journalist, like a PayPal journalist, but they were completely uninterested about the reports of threat. Instead, they want to actually make a hit piece on the guy instead of trying to understand him, what he's been going through. And he says, quote, 0 journalists on established media have devoted a line to this, even though I'm likely to be Sweden's most threatened journalist right now, he says in his post. His previous report all returns to the police, but they also didn't help him. So this is quite a bad story from Sweden, and it goes to show how bad the situation really is with journalism and the media and free speech. We talked about this a lot before, but you know, if you're tuning in from America, you obviously know about CNN, and CNN, how extremely biased they are. You know, they are really biased, but they pale in comparison to Swedish media. Swedish state media, in fact, 8 out of 10 journalists at Swedish state media SVT vote for the Green Party, which is a far left party. And even one of the news anchors was actually caught with a portrait of Mao on her desk. So, you know, just imagine that. You walk into someone's office and they have a portrait of Mao on her desk. Mao was responsible for killing over 60 million people in China under communism. That's way more than even other dictators and despots like Hitler. You know, imagine if she had a portrait of Hitler on her desk. That would rightly be a huge uproar, you know. But having a picture of Mao, who's killed millions of more, in fact, that's completely fine for some reason. You know, it's the hypocrisy is really astounding when it comes to why communism is considered acceptable. Meanwhile, Nazism is rightly considered not acceptable, but communism is strangely considered acceptable in today's society, and that's because the communists have taken over the institutions and gone through institutions, brainwashing people into thinking it's okay. You know, the communists have taken over the media, they've taken over journalism, they've taken over TV, and they are pushing their agenda. You know, it's a reason it is called TV programming. It's because they're programming people into thinking in a certain way. And then and of course the communists, they thought this was an excellent idea. You know, get into the media, get into journalism, get into TV, and start affecting how people think. And then you can change society. You don't need a armed revolution if you can do it through the mind with brainwashing and through the culture, you know. So just 1 second, I just had to turn off the volume. I forgot to turn off the volume on my computer. I just got a subscription here on screen, and it plinged up here on my side here. So you might have gotten a kind of a double pling sound playing on your screen. Apologies for that, guys. Yeah, that just reminded me with this new setup I have. Every time, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Your name will appear here. Your name will appear here in the screen on the channel. And if you want to support the show as well, I have the super chats now, which will also get your name up on screen, and it will fill up this this little glass jar here that you see on the side with coins. So if you want to support the show, it's highly appreciated. It helps keep the show going, and it will fill up this jar. And as a little surprise, I will have the Swedish national anthem play every time a super chat is used. So if anyone wants to try it and hear the Swedish national anthem, please go ahead and support the show, guys. All right. Where was I? Yeah, communism. Communists. I mean, in Sweden, the journalists in Sweden, they are well known to be communists. I mean, in their youth, they were all a part of Antifa, and all of this. All of this. It's well known, and now they are journalists pushing their agenda. In fact, I can actually show you something. I have. Just give me 1 second. I will find it here on screen for you. I'm just trying to find it. Yes, here we go. There we go. So you see this guy here. He's a very nice. He's a very nice looking kind of fellow. This guy, as you can see. This guy is Robert Aschberg. He is a very well-known so-called journalist in Sweden. He works together with far left groups which are related to the British Hope Not Hate, actually. He works with far left Antifa groups to basically build a database of right-wingers who present dissident opinions online. So if someone comments on Twitter or Facebook that they are against mass migration or something like that, he operates a company where they are building a database of all these evil right-wingers that he dislikes. In his youth, he was a actual communist in the 70s. His grandfather was actually a banker who financed the Bolshevik Revolution back then, back 100 years ago. Now this guy is out here building a database of right-wingers and spreading lots of propaganda in the media. And it was actually quite interesting because it was about a year ago now, I think. There was a guy, I have talked about this before, there was a journalist in Sweden, an independent journalist, actually from Iran, but he had migrated to Sweden, and he was actually working for alternative media in Sweden, and his name was Bakir Rabbani, and he was actually doing an expose on this Robert Aschberg guy. He had apparently some kind of information. He was doing an expose the next day, but the strangest thing happened. The guy who was doing the expose, he mysteriously, for some unknown reason, he died the night before he was going to release his expose on this lovely looking guy. His friends obviously called the police and reported it as a suspicious death, but it was just like hushed down, quiet down. Nothing really came out of it. But it was very, very strange timing that this guy was going to release an expose, and the night before he was found dead. I would say that is very suspicious. It reminds me of what happened with Hillary Clinton and the DNC and that email leaker guy, Seth Rick, I think it was. Yeah, someone in the comments here, Bev White says, does he know Hillary? Yeah, that is just what I was asking. Does he know Hillary? I don't know. They probably get along well. They probably get along well, I would think. Thank you so much for subscription, Panoramic Videos. Big shout out to you. Yeah, this Robert Aschberg guy, he would probably get along well with Hillary Clinton. I mean, just look at him. I mean, you wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark alley. This guy does not seem like a nice guy at all. And I actually used to listen to this guy. Here's the thing, I actually used to listen to this guy on the radio in Sweden a couple of years ago. When I was, well, I had just gotten my driving license. I was 18. I was driving around in my car, and I was actually listening to this guy spew his nonsense in the radio. And back then I thought maybe this guy wasn't so bad. It was okay. I was thinking, but I realized a couple of years later, oh, how wrong I was. He was spreading propaganda, and that's a dangerous thing, because people think they are nice, but then they don't realize who they actually are, you know, in the background. Thank you so much to Batfink Reynolds for the super chat from Canada, I believe. I don't think you have any comment that you wanted to say, but thank you so much for super my tongue super chat. Really appreciate it. Helps keep the show going. If you want to support the show, please consider using a super chat, and if you have any comments, they will be read live on air. Any questions? I'm actually working on doing a call-in thing, so anyone who's doing a super chat of $10 or more, for example, will be able to call in to the show and talk on air. I haven't set it up yet though, but I am working on it. That is something that is coming later on as soon as I get everything set up, because I'm still working with the whole studio setup. It's all quite new to me. Just today I got a new camera, actually a 4K camera. It was a bit expensive, so any super chats are welcome. But I think it looks a lot better. It's a lot sharper. I'm actually not running this in 4K. I'm actually only running this in what is the setting I have? Let me have a look. I'm running this in. It doesn't say. Let me see if, oh, here it is. Yeah, I'm running this actually in 2560 times 1440 pixels. So it's not running at the highest quality, because it was actually draining my computer a little bit. It was making my computer, when I tried the 4K setting before I went live. It looks a little bit better with the 4K, but not much. It can be even sharper than this, but I don't know. If you want me to next time, guys, actually let's do a little poll in the chat. Do you want me on the next stream? Do you want me to do it in full 4K? See if that works better. Press 1 if you want to, yes, or 2 if you think that this resolution is fine. I don't know. I haven't decided. My computer was getting quite a high CPU usage when I was doing the 4K, so I decided to scale it down a little bit. But if you want me to try the full 4K resolution, let me know in the chat. Press 1 for full 4K next stream, and I will do it. Or 2 if you think that this resolution is fine, and I'll keep using this resolution. Okay, we got our first. I just got our first chat here voting on. That came up on the screen here. It seems like, I don't know, you guys are typing in 3 a lot, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. You got a couple of 1s, so I assume you guys want me to do the 4K next. We got a couple of 2s. It's about 50-50 actually. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know some more. I'm actually gonna bring your chat up on screen. Actually 2s is winning. Yeah, you think that this resolution is good enough? Yeah, we'll try and experiment a little bit and see what happens. But anyway, let's get on to our next story. Why not? Let me just bring it up on screen. Just give me a couple of seconds, and there we go. And 1 more second, and there we go. I'll just put away the chat box so you can see what the article is about. So we have an article here from Voice of Europe talking about the pro-migrant protesters robbed of gold necklace by migrants after attending protest. This was in France. Two women went to a pro-Aquarius rally in France. Now, in case you don't know Aquarius, that is the NGO vessel Aquarius, which is down in the Mediterranean, picking up migrants and bringing them up from the coast of Libya up to Europe. In fact, I was actually down in Sicily last year reporting on this. Let me actually bring up a video of that. I was actually right there at the docks with the Aquarius when the police came and threw me out of the docks. It was a public dock, like a dock where boats come and dock, a public place. And the police actually threw me out when I was there to film whenever arriving with more migrants. I have it on YouTube. Let me just bring it up on screen so you guys can see about that. I did this video, actually I did a couple of videos about this last year when I was there down in Sicily reporting on it. I can just play it on here. And just jump forward a little bit. Here we are. Yeah, so you can see here on screen. That is where I was reporting at the docks with the Aquarius vessel and was riding with migrants. So you can actually see the migrants here in the background, and all of them basically. All of them. Sorry about that. I think I was playing the sound both from my old video and this new one. I just turned that sound off. So yeah, I was there reporting. You can see the migrants there in the boat in the background. This is the Aquarius vessel that they were protesting about in France. And as you can see, one thing that actually astounded me when I was there, the migrants, they were all males, like 99% were all young males. And then in this video here that just popped up here, by the way, I was actually just thrown out by the police. I look extremely tired because I had been up for so long. So I look extremely tired up here on screen. I went up, I think it was like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was driving for several hours to get to the right place. So I look extremely tired here. But anyway, there I was. Here was right after I was kicked out by the police for reporting on the migrants, and it was actually funny because Vice News, they were actually there reporting together with me. They were doing their own report. They were actually right there. The police did not kick them out. They only kicked me out. Which you have to ask yourself, why? It really boggles the mind. And I actually met the same vessel a couple of days later. Let me see if I can find that video as well. Here it is, and I actually got that on camera. This was the second time I went to report on the Aquarius migrant vessel, and this was a different dock in Catania in Sicily, the biggest city there in Sicily. And this time I actually managed to catch on video. There was two civilian police officers. As you see them on screen, they have an unmarked police vehicle. I was standing there. The blue car is actually my rental car, and the other BMW is the police car. And they were at first they were actually driving around, following me, spying on me. I could notice, and then all of a sudden they just pulled up and they wanted my ID and everything. It was really, really strange. Then after the police came, then came some people from the NGO vessel as well. They wanted me to leave and all that, but I said no, this is a public space, I'm allowed to be here. And at last they did leave me alone. But yeah, as you can see, the Aquarius vessel, they were there docking, and it's a lot of strange stuff going on here. I mean, George Soros' money is being funneled to these organizations to bring the migrants up from. Basically what they're doing is they're going down to the coast of Libya, just as little as 10 kilometers outside the coast of Libya, and you have these migrants. They are jumping out they're jumping out in these small rubber dingy boats, and of course obviously they sink very quickly because they are not very seaworthy. So you have these vessels like this Aquarius right here that come down there just 10 kilometers off the coast of Libya, pick them up and taxi them up to as a ferry service, taxi them up to Europe, to Italy, often Sicily. But thankfully though, that has changed now, because with the new right-wing government in Italy, we have Matteo Salvini and the Lega party. They are against this and they have almost completely stopped these migrant vessels from docking in Italy anymore. So that is a good thing. Hopefully the work I did in Sicily last year has helped to inform them of what's going on, and they have taken appropriate action to stop this from continuing. Yeah, here by the way on screen is where I caught the police on camera following me, and when they pulled up to me. Yeah, that was actually quite. It was a little bit scary, because not only this was actually the third time I encountered the police in Italy when I was there at the docks. The first time with Aquarius, I was thrown out. And then a second time, it was another NGO vessel called Phoenix I was reporting on. I was thrown out there as well, and the police actually escorted me out, and they forced me to delete my footage from the docks there with that Phoenix vessel. Otherwise I would be arrested, they told me. It was actually quite a little bit scary. And then this third time I had these undercover police officers come up to me like this, that I got on camera here. It was crazy. Whenever you do something questioning the world agenda, you can meet quite a bit of resistance, and I have definitely had some experience of that, shall we say, as you can see in this footage here. But I did nothing illegal, so thankfully they left me alone, and I didn't. So that was a good thing. But yeah, that was in case you didn't know about that, there we go. And regarding the story, by the way, I completely went off track here. Regarding the story, so this has to do with this story that we're talking about. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. So on Saturday, 2 women went to a pro-Aquarius rally in France. When they left, they were assaulted, and one of them was robbed of her gold necklace by a group of underage migrants, according to news outlet E-Metropolitan. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Yes, but there was actually a savior, a hero. A local business owner on his motorcycle saw a group of the 3 male teenagers running after the 2 women. He says, quote, "I heard the women's screams and I saw 2 ladies of 50 to 60 years old," yeah, it's always the middle-aged women for some reason, "running in a building hall, running from 3 teens. The trio escaped from the building and having stolen gold necklace from one of the victims." He went after them, the 3 individuals who were running. 2 local policemen who were patrolling the streets actually witnessed the chase and intervened just when he caught the robbers. The police handcuffed the teens, and this guy was actually called a hero by the police after the incident, and he went running after the third attacker because the police got the 2 of them, but the third guy was getting away, so he went running to get the third guy. He caught him in the street, blocked him off with his motorcycle tire, jumped on him, did an arm lock, and made him spit out the gold necklace that he hid in his mouth. So I think we have quite a hero here, actually, a real honourable citizen police, shall we say. He brought him to the local cops present on the scene, and the thing is that is ironic to this story is that the 2 victims were just coming back from a rally held in favor of the Aquarius migrants when they met their assaulters. So just on a protest, a pro-migrant protest. then they get assaulted by 3 migrants stealing their necklace. It's almost like it's just so ironic. It's first of all, you have to congratulate and that hero who intervened. You don't see that kind of bravery a lot anymore. Many people would just have been completely pacified and not done anything to go after him. I don't even. I would have hoped that I myself would have run after them and stopped them if I was in that situation, but I couldn't promise that. But it's very good to see that we still have good people that we still have good people in Europe. And then we have the ironic part with these women who are just on the protest in favor of them, and then they get a big dose of reality hitting them in the face, basically. That's basically what happened. A big dose of reality just hit them in their face. That's it's as simple as that. So that's that story. We will be covering a couple of more stories tonight. Let me just get a little. My mouth is getting dry. We got a glass of whole milk. I was reading your chat last night, and you guys wanted me to have a glass of pure whole milk to drink on stream, so I brought it this time. A glass of whole milk, Norwegian whole milk. You know, Sweden, they actually said that milk was a symbol of white supremacy, together with the OK hand sign. So I don't know, are they going to label me a white supremacist for drinking milk? I really can't care. I really couldn't care less. I just thought of something. I do have a full carton of milk here as well. For every super chat of $2 or more, I will drink this whole glass and fill it up with another glass. So if you want me drinking more milk, getting rid of that soy, cleansing out the soy with some pure whole milk, I will drink a whole glass for every $2. Okay, let's go on to our next story. A story from Germany I want to talk about. A student. Students in Germany are being called Nazis for criticizing Angela Merkel's migration policies. Leftist suppression of freedom of speech becomes increasingly worse in Germany, according to this article. For this school year, the AfD, Alternative for Deutschland party, has started a neutral school initiative in Germany's second largest city, Hamburg. The goal is to battle political indoctrination and to strengthen democracy. I think a very good initiative, a very important initiative from AfD indeed. Because they say, quote, "We receive information incidents that address the demonstrated prayer of Muslims in Hamburg schools. This may result in conflicts between the preservation of school peace and negative denial of the rest of the students' body," says local AfD spokesman Alexander Wolf regarding the political climate at schools. The AfD spokesman also gives examples of teachers who violate a neutral school environment. Problematic are messages from people who pretend to be teachers and violently offend our party or even threaten with violence. This behavior is shameful, but also shows that we have initiated an uncomfortable and necessary debate with our action. So, I mean, it's you see this more and more. You see this more and more. You see this more and more in schools in the West. You know. We're seeing it in the UK, students who have supported UKIP or Tommy Robinson, they have been expelled from class or gotten detention and things like that. So, again, this is something I'm saying a lot. Public school is indoctrination centers. Never put your kids in public school. It's as simple as that. public school is being used to brainwash people. As I forgot, I didn't bring the link, but there was actually a guy in the UK, I believe it was at the Labour conference, and he said that it was the teachers' goal, that the teachers have to teach the children to not want to vote for these evil Tories, conservatives. It's their duty to teach them the right path, so that they become good citizens and vote for the right party. Basically, more or less said that completely openly, and that is their goal. It's just so obvious. All right, I see I got a super chat from Kevin Moore with the $2 asking where's his chocolate milk. So I promised I would drink the whole glass of milk. I don't have the chocolate milk. That would be racist. I don't want the chocolate milk. That could be considered cultural appropriation, and it could be considered racist. So I don't want that. I only got my white milk. But I promised I would drink the whole glass for every $2. So here we go. Okay, let's fill it up again. And if you want me to really need to go on the toilet very quickly, you know what to do. We have another glass ready right here if you want me to need to run on the toilet very quickly. Okay. Thank you so much for super chat, by the way. I really appreciate it, and it helps keep the show going, and I'm very thankful for all your support, guys. Let's move on to our next story tonight. It's actually from Sweden, and we have some interesting information has come out, which usually don't come out. There was a woman that was raped, and for the first time in a long time, I actually have a picture of the guy released, so that we can try and find him. So let me just bring it up on screen in one moment. There we go. So I tweeted this earlier. A 36-year-old woman in Swedish city of Stockholm. She was on her way to work in the morning when she was assaulted, raped, and robbed. A short while later, this man was caught on camera using her bank card to steal money, and they have actually released a photo of the guy, and this is what he looks like. He was caught on CCTV when he was attempting to withdraw the money from the woman's bank account. So for once we finally have a witness, a image of what the guy looks like, so that people can try and find him. If you live in Sweden and you see this guy on the street, make sure to call the police. Make sure to call the police and let them know if you see this guy on the streets. He could be dangerous. Well, we know he is dangerous. So if you live in Sweden, please call the police if you see this guy on the street. And I have to say, he doesn't look like your typical Swede. It does not resemble your typical Swede, to be honest. He does not. I don't know. Something tells me that he's not Swedish. I don't know what it is, but something tells me it's not Swedish. And I'm actually surprised that for once the media actually published pictures of him. It's I don't know. The media has started to become a little better in Sweden the last year or so, but not much. But I'm surprised they actually released his photo, because that's not typical Swedish behavior. Dr. Vadde here in the chat says, "Look at me, I'm Swedish now." Yeah, that's basically what's happening. Yeah, the new Sweden. Actually, saying that actually reminded me of something. I'm actually going to show you something. Something quite disturbing, in fact. Here we go. So this was actually a video put out in Sweden a couple 2 years ago, talking about det nya landet, ett upprop. So basically it means the new country, the new Sweden.
Ingen väg tillbaka.
So hang on, let me just make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So we don't get, there we go. So the video starts off here actually by saying there is no way back. Det finns ingen väg tillbaka. There is no way back. It starts off by saying. Then we get another guy looking like this. Then we get this guy. I'm not going to play the video because of copyright reasons. I'm just going to show you the screenshots. Then we have a nice looking elderly, then we have a elderly Swedish woman. We have, I don't know, I guess she looks like she's Russian or something. Then we have this person, and then we have this scene, and then we have this guy. Actually, let me just see if I can put on subtitles because I cannot. It doesn't have subtitles. Apparently not. Basically, I have watched the video. I'm not going to play it because of copyright reasons. But basically, it says there's no way back. This is actually. Let me just see if we have English subtitles. Should have it in English subtitle. Oh yes, we do. We do have it in English subtitles. This ad. So it starts off with saying there's no way back. Sweden will never be what it once was. Europe is changing. Sweden needs to be a safe space for refugees. Now we must look forward and find a way to live side by side. It's time to realize that the new Swedes will claim their space. Like this guy. And bring their culture, language and habits. It's time to see this as a positive force. To be Swedish must be more than skin color and place of birth. It must be you, me, and everyone together. It's not only the new Swedes that need to integrate, but the old Swedes have to integrate as well. What are these people thinking? Integration is about finding mutual understanding. Let's create a future that is based on equal parts reality and belief in the future. Let's build a country where we put hate and fear aside. Let's be like, oh, look at this guy. Okay, thank you. It's time to create a country together that is proud, inclusive, and sustainable. Something new, the new country. Hashtag the new country. Become ambassador for the new country. This is like the most pure propaganda video ever made. Like imagine if you went to Japan or Africa or something and you said the new country, you know, we have these new Africans, these new white Africans coming into Africa, and you people are already living in Africa, you actually have to integrate to accommodate for these new white people that are coming into your country. You have to integrate for them. I mean, like imagine if they just, like imagine if you dared to say it. I mean, the left would demolish you, but they are here openly talking about this replacement of Europe in these videos. They are not even hiding it. They're not even hiding it. They're openly promoting it. But then when people talk about it, they openly promote it. But then when people talk about it, that they are actually openly promoting it, they go right ahead and call you, oh, conspiracy theorist and all of that stuff. As you saw with South Africa, you know, they were talking about what's happening to those farmers in South Africa. The left, the media went into full spin mode and called them racist and conspiracy theorists and all that nonsense. Dr. K in the chat says, whenever I think Swedish, I picture blonde hair, ivory skin, light eyes, very attractive people. Arab and African are not Swedish, says Dr. K. Well, I would not disagree. Being Swedish is more. Being Swedish is more than just culture. It has to do with the people and their ethnicity as well. Of course, the culture plays an important part of it, but basically, culture is downstream from the people. The people make the culture. That's my opinion on that. Yeah, so we're probably gonna need a lot of more chocolate milk in Sweden in the future, considering if this video will turn true. We're going to need a lot more chocolate milk in Sweden, and we can't have this racist white milk anymore. So we'll have to enjoy it while it lasts. Let's move on to our next story, actually, quite fittingly on the topic. This story from Britain. Let me just bring it up on screen. There we go. White British disadvantaged boys are the least likely of any ethnic group to make it to university. So the Education Secretary Damien Hinds will launch something called Opportunity Northeast, aimed to tackle issues that hold back young white British boys, which are the least likely of any large ethnic group to go to university. Experts called for a national debate about culture and ambition in white working class families early in 2018 after the emerging number of young white people going to university had declined over the past 3 years, despite overall increase in admissions. This is touching on a very important topic because, as many of you know, the last 10-20 years or so, in the West in particular, you have had discrimination, and it still is very much so. White people are being discriminated against in their own countries. The governments are prioritizing migrants and non-ethnic people. White people are being discriminated against in their own countries. If you are a black woman and you are applying for a university to get accepted, there is much more likely that you will get accepted as a black woman than a white man, because of all these so-called diversity and equality laws, which is not diversity or equality, it's actually anti-diversity. It discriminates against white people, and it boosts of course the black people and other ethnic groups that want to come into university. I mean, that's fine, but it should be fair and equal. It should be completely equal for everyone to be able to apply on grounds of merit if they are smart enough, not based on their skin color, because the way it's happening now is that a lot of times in the West, this comes to jobs as well. We have basically racism back, but it's racism against white people. They are favoring non-white people, and white people are being discriminated against. I mean, you see this. I mean, even BBC, they've been putting out advertisements where they have been hiring only non-white people, specifically hiring only non-white people. And that should be illegal according to British law, but somehow they get away with it. And I mean, if I remember correctly, Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, they actually charged white people more money to attend some kind of conference or event that they had, while non-white people paid less money to attend. Like, pure discrimination, but they get away with it because they say, oh, it's just, we have to... Well, I think the left's reasoning is, they say that we have to make up for past racism or whatever nonsense like that, completely forgetting that it was actually white people that ended racism in the first place. White people were the first to end slavery and get laws against racism and so on. White people were the first to end slavery. Still today, people in the Middle East and Africa are still enslaving each other. But white people, it was especially Britain with William Wilberforce, worked very hard to abolish slavery. So European countries were the first to abolish slavery, and they're still doing it in certain African countries and the Middle East. And the left still is blaming white people. It's just because they have an agenda which is anti-white, anti-European. It's really sad to see, because it should be. I believe in true equality. You know, black people, white people, red, yellow. I don't care. I mean, God created everyone, and everyone should have equal opportunities and not be discriminated against. That doesn't mean that there aren't differences between different people. Of course there is, but everyone should have equal opportunity and so on. But right now, especially in the West, they're discriminating against white people, unfortunately. That's really sad to see. But at least they're doing something about it now here in the UK to try and help the white British boys to increase the university admissions there. So at least it's a positive step forward when it comes to that. Now, for our last story today, we'll be wrapping this up in about 5 minutes, I think, this live stream. So if you have any feedback or anything about this whole new streaming setup, my new camera, anything about that, please let me know in the chat. I really appreciate any feedback, guys. And I'm gonna try and wrap this up in about 5 minutes time. I have one more story I want to cover before we do, though. Let me see. It's about Facebook. They released a new device just the other day. So Facebook has unveiled a portal video calling device for the home, similar to Amazon Alexa and Google and this Google thing. It basically looks like this, and this comes only a few days actually after it was exposed that 50 million Facebook accounts were exposed, and Facebook had some severe hacking going on. Now they're releasing this new device. Facebook wants to go into your home now. Now they want more. It's not enough that they are taking all your data when you are online. Now they want to reach into your home. I would not trust this thing at all, especially considering that this camera they have on this device actually follows you around. So when you are in the room, the camera on the thing, it actually swivels around and tracks you walking around the room, so it can look at you all the time. No, thank you very much. I would not want that. It has an AI-driven 12 megapixel camera with a 140-degree field of view. Automatically pans and zooms so you can see everyone in the room. Alternatively, you can pin the camera view to a particular individual you want to follow on the screen. So it also has 4 microphones, and you can initiate calls with saying "Hey Portal" and so on. I mean, this is the perfect spying device. This is the perfect spying device to spy on everything you do. Not only do they have everything on your computer, they now want to have everything in your home. I would never buy this thing. I would never buy it, and I would not recommend any one of you buying this thing either. This is no thank you. It's enough with all the tracking that they're doing, that Facebook is doing. In fact, let me just show you something. Just one moment.
Det finns ingen väg tillbaka.
Sverige blir aldrig som det var.
Facebook is actually doing a lot of tracking, in case you don't know it. on the internet, wherever you go, even if you're not on Facebook, they still have cookies and they're still trying to connect to the Facebook website to track you, and so on. I actually have this web browser here called Brave, which automatically blocks and detects all trackers. And I'm actually on YouTube here right now, and on this site alone, just this video alone, there is 11 ads and trackers that are being blocked right now on this, and I'm pretty sure that one of them is Facebook, and perhaps you have Twitter as well. But they go around tracking you. They go around tracking you all over the internet, and now they want to track you into your own home. No, thank you. I am not going to. I would just say that to recommend everyone not to get that device. King Co in the chat here says Linux all the way. Yes, Linux is not a bad idea. I'm actually using Linux on my phone right now because my phone was actually hacked. My Android phone was actually hacked. And I switched to Linux phone because of it, which is much harder to hack. So I'm not saying it's unhackable, but it's at least a lot better. Thank you so much, HD, by the way, for the subscription. Anyone who subscribes will get their name up on screen. So if you're not subscribed yet, please make sure to do so, so you don't miss these streams. Now, I can just imagine, Heimat actually brings up a good point in the chat. He says this Facebook device will be used in the future to block access to everything. Well, that is the thing, you know, this thing tracking you in your own home. I mean, just think Facebook have all these hate speech laws and stuff. Imagine it tracking in your home and picking up saying something it doesn't like. You know, I can just imagine, like, one day in the future, you have this Facebook device connected to your home, controlling your house, your locks and windows and everything. And all of a sudden one morning you wake up and you have this screen on your thing, and it's saying, I can just imagine it saying, warning, transphobic hate speech has been detected. Your refrigerator has been locked for 24 hours until you have been put in a lockout from the refrigerator for 24 hours. Please come back later. Something like that. I mean, just imagine it. I mean, they're doing it online now on Twitter and Facebook. Just imagine doing it. In 5-10 years time in your home as well. Thank you so much for the super chat from 24x. Anonymous person, I would assume no comment, but thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Helps keep the show going, and I'm glad you like the stream enough to support it. I highly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Kevin Moore in the chat as well says, don't use Chrome or Google. Yes, I 100% agree. Don't use Chrome. I would recommend either you use Brave browser, the one I showed you on the screen earlier, with the built-in ad blockers and tracking blocks, or Opera, which is a Norwegian browser, or perhaps Firefox, which is open source. Any of those three I could recommend. I would recommend, but definitely not Chrome and not Internet Explorer. All right. I think we're gonna wrap this up. This live stream right here. We have been going for about an hour now, and I want to thank everyone who has tuned in tonight to this live stream. I highly appreciate all of you guys, especially everyone who's supporting the show with the super chats. So I'm gonna wrap this stream up here tonight, and make sure to leave a like on the video, and I will be back tomorrow at the same time, 9 p.m. British time, or 10 p.m. Norwegian time. So make sure to tune in again tomorrow. Now you have to I'm going to end the stream here now, but I have to apologize here. There's one thing I need to test while ending this stream. I know that previously, in my previous live streams, when I have ended the stream, it has been cut off too early, and I think that has to do with with the delay in what I am saying here in my software compared to how long it takes for it to come out to YouTube. So I'm just going to pause here for a little bit before I end the stream, just to see if just to test a little bit how it works. But thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Thank you guys, and good night.